Obama Llama, marrying Mr. Darcy, Go Cuckoo, and a geeky day of games in Bristol. This is Staying In.
How was your trip, Kris?
It was great.
Rate it. Can you rate it out of 10?
What, the overall package or just the journey down by car?
The whole thing.
The whole
thing
really
was magnificent.
If you were to trip advise it.
Oh my God, we're talking at like at least a 6. No, it was amazing. Honestly, it was like 10 or 11. It was fantastic.
Okay.
Loved it. I mean, it's probably the most number of board games I've ever played in such a short period of time.
We have played.
We got through quite a lot, didn't we?
We've played basically all the board games that have ever been made.
What did we actually get through? We got through Mysterium.
Yeah, that was Sam's birthday treat that he talked about in the last episode.
Yeah, your one that you brought, which was the Aliens.
Oh, Escape from the Aliens, yeah, from Osprey Games.
I've never played. I've not even played a hidden movement game before, so that was cool for me.
We had Go Cuckoo, the dexterity game.
Oh my gosh. Well, should we like smash through what we actually did? So obviously, like, you guys arrived.
Yeah.
And then that was quite late. So we were like, let's get to bed early, like the really cool dudes.
Let's get to bed early so we can wake up and play board games early. We had a trip, didn't we? Me and Pete figured our route out in Bristol. Any Bristol listeners will know, hopefully, what we're talking about when we say our route. We woke up early and started off with a good breakfast.
Good breakfast,
which is important to every gaming.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Like a good I've kind of become quite proud of doing a decent breakfast because obviously, Kris, like, I mean, the reason that I'm don't shake your head. The reason that I'm so proud of a good breakfast now is because of the flack that I've received previously over my quality of breakfast. I don't know if it is deserved.
It was deserved. You served them bacon, which was pretty bad.
Yeah, but it wasn't even bacon, was it? It was like bacon grill, which comes out of a tub. It's almost liquid, I guess. It's not quite spam. I thought it was delicious.
Yeah, it was like viscous liquid bacon. It was just slightly viscous. It was like a custard, a non-newtonian version of bacon.
You can feel it clogging up your arteries.
But okay, fine. So that was like 2 years ago, and so this time, so then like the last one we had was like ethical meat, and then this one was a vegetarian breakfast. It was like scrambled eggs, vegetarian sausages.
It was all very nice. So we started with that.
Big breakfast.
Yeah.
And also, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about big breakfasts. They keep you going. Like sometimes on a weekend, genuinely, I think to myself, why am I bothering to like have breakfast, lunch and dinner? That is too much time taken up with meals. Sometimes I just think to myself, just wait a little bit.
Kris cannot get this.
Have a light. No, Kris doesn't understand.
How could anything?
No, Kris is just constantly eating. But like, sometimes I think to myself, why bother getting up and early and having a breakfast and then a lunch and then dinner? Why not get up slightly later, have a big breakfast or a brunch, whichever you fancy, skip lunch and have a slightly earlier but bigger dinner, and then you're sorted.
Right.
That's cost efficient.
Couldn't skip lunch.
Yeah, me neither.
No?
I know people, like my sister's boyfriend doesn't have breakfast. Just has a coffee in the morning, that's it. I couldn't even do that. Because like I have dinner at like 6 at night. Like, I think how many hours that is before lunchtime. That's extraordinary. I don't know. I couldn't. I get the shakes. I do. My hands start to go if I haven't eaten.
Yeah, no, I'm the same actually. I'm absolutely ravenous in the morning. I couldn't do it. And I think you'd be able to do it, but actually you'd get pretty hungry.
No.
At lunch.
No. So I think
Nice.
so like belly's full, well, not too full, but full enough. We decided to do like a round trip around Bristol. I suppose this is kind of like a, I don't know, I guess what we wanted to do was like show, because obviously Sam was with us as well, so Sam and Kris came down. Dan couldn't make it down this time, and Alix and I were playing host, and so we decided to do like a little round trip around Bristol to like all of the fine geekery places, right? So so we had a breakfast. That's done. We've ticked that one off.
Yeah, I think we've overlaboured the point with the breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that could be. Okay.
We started off with Excelsior.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we went to the games shop, Excelsior.
Yeah, because there's like 2 Excelsiors.
There's 2. Yeah, there's the comic book one, and then we went to the games one, which it's got a great selection in there.
Oh, an amazing selection there. Particular expansions as well. I mean, it had the major kind of players you'd expect, but no, it was fantastic.
There's lots of weird different ones. You bought. What did you get?
I bought the expansion for Seven Wonders Duel, Pantheon, which me and my partner played last night.
Oh, okay. How did that go?
Good. I think we were slightly tired, so I don't think we gave it. I don't know. I couldn't really take it all in, really. But it's nice. Basically,
so what's different about this one?
Well, basically, you've got because I know you two own the game. You've got this kind of, you've got the track down your left, which is the kind of the which basically marks the wars that you have between ages. Well, there's this cardboard thing that clips round the side of that, which is this pantheon for the gods. And you arrange the cards in the usual way. But on the first stage, you put some tokens on some at random, and as you pick up that card, you actually activate one of the gods, which you then put in that pantheon. And then in the next stage, you revealed all the gods, and you can choose as one of the options on your go to pay for a god and use its power. And that power might be to literally steal someone's monument off them.
Cool.
Or to actually remove a card from the actual playing area that's still covered. So stuff like that. So you've got all these different gods. So it completely changes the dynamic.
That's cool.
Because sometimes when you're playing the game, it might be the luck of the draw where actually it just how happens every other go, you miss out on all the resources. Well, this is an opportunity for you to kind of buy a god, and it skips that aspect. So, but yeah, it's good.
One of the things about expansions that I always find a little bit difficult is sometimes it really varies between expansions as to how much content you feel like and value like that you get out of them. So, for example, like I found like the Cult Express expansion was really, really good. The first one, I really want to play that second one. But whereas I've bought expansions in the past, and I've kind of felt a little bit like shortchanged. Like some of the really relatively small Catan expansions that are still like a tenner to get them from the main Mayfair website. They're really tiny,
like the river one.
Like the river, and it's like it does change the game a little bit, but you feel I don't know.
You can do without it.
Is that Catan? Are you talking about Catan or Carcassonne?
It's Catan.
Oh, both. Carcassonne also has a Rivers expansion.
Oh, right, yeah. It's quite an easy one for them to do. I think the best one I've ever encountered that was game-changing was Machikoro, the Harbour expansion.
Yeah, because that turned it from a good game, from an okay game to a
very good game.
Really good game.
At least more fun. And it was the first game at its core is just very luck-based. And it's pretty much, whatever you roll, it's all luck. And in the second one, it's actually because it changes every time you take a building, it changes up what you can build. There's actually a bit of strategy in it. So that's actually improved the game immeasurably. Whereas usually things add to it, this actually changed how the game works. So I really like that one. We didn't manage to play that this time. But they have it in that store. They've got loads of things. I kept seeing, what was it, Citadel? I really wanted to.
Yeah.
What's Citadel? Is it just the box art that appeals to you?
No, it's the idea of it. You have to, you build up Citadel, I think, don't you?
Didn't Sam buy that? Sam bought that game.
He did. He bought the original. They had a great big one in there, but he bought this small original one that's kind of travel-sized. And I think it just sounds like Stronghold, essentially, the PC game.
Oh, right. Okay, that's why you're
I'm sure it's not like that.
Right.
But it's kind of the thing in my head that I would like a game of that. But it's probably not quite what I think. What I would actually like is all your actual little figures, and making like little bakeries and
like a worker placement game.
Yeah, kind of. But
no, it sounds like what you want is Playmobil.
Yeah, I want a little town. I want to actually have little pieces.
You want
and
Sylvanian
make
families?
A town.
Oh, my sister had the Sylvanian families. They were like an army. She had everything.
Furry army.
She had like the windmill. She had everything. And I remember as a child picking them up, and they're that kind of, they're velvety to the touch. It's quite like unnerving feeling, like fingernails on a blackboard kind of feeling.
Oh, do you not like velvet?
No, I don't really like Velvet.
Uh,
I wouldn't have done very well in the 60s, 70s. These what these Sylvanian families are kind of made of, really. Yeah, she had this like little tiny sort of velvet army.
Sylvanian Families, subtitle, The Velvet Army. That would be, oh man.
There's a great, you should check it out, Chris. It's called Forest Friends.
Yes.
Zero.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so good. It's
on Twitter.
It's on Twitter. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's just Sylvanian Families. I think it's actually their marketing pictures, isn't it, from just Sylvanian Families.
I think originally
set up.
they were, yeah.
But now it's got to such a point. They just put very adult, R-rated statements that go along with these really cute velvet little animals, and it's brilliant. The juxtaposition is fantastic because they're so cute, but they're just so rude.
Obviously we were in Excelsior and we were like wandering around and looking at all the nice board games. I wanted to buy, and it has crystallized for me, I wanted to buy X-Wing, the miniatures game.
No.
Right? No, but here's the thing. I know I've said this to you, and I've said it to Chris, and I've said it to Sam, and it's because I'm having this internal debate with myself all of the time. I really want to buy the X-Wing miniatures game, but I don't give a toss about Star Wars.
So why buy it?
Because I really want to play. Because I think, at the end of the day, I think what I really want to play is Battlefleet Gothic. It's Sylvanian Families, the Velvet Army. Oh my god.
I'd play that game.
I would play the hell out of that game.
Can't we just get them and I'll make you a cardboard Star Destroyer?
But I don't want a Star Destroyer. I think what I want is Battlefleet.
Don't get
but what I want is Battlefleet Gothic, which was a really great old Games Workshop tabletop game back in the day, and they recently did some like video game adaptations of it, and as far as I know, they're pretty good. But the really cool thing with it was like these really awesome ship-to-ship battles, and you were flying around in space, and it was all quite slow. So you had to be really methodical and really thinking about each move that you actually made. And that ship-to-ship combat, I remember being absolutely fantastic. And so when I saw the X-Wing miniatures game, and I keep seeing it, because it's obviously massively popular, because Fantasy Flight have done really, really well with it, I keep seeing it, and I keep thinking to myself, I should get that. The other thing that I saw recently was, and this was actually in Excelsior, was Dungeons and Dragons Attack Wing, which is basically the exact same game but set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe, and you're like flying around and stuff on dragons.
Attack Wing? Oh, because
you're on dragons flying around and shooting at stuff and like having cool stuff.
Now
like that
I would be into. Does it have dragon miniatures?
Yeah,
It'd be awful if it didn't, wouldn't it?
there's a there's a Star Trek game as well, which is basically the exact same game. Again, that's called Star Trek Attack Wing.
I know Star Wars more than you do, and I'd probably get more enjoyment out of the Star Wars game, but I still don't want to get it.
But that's the thing, yeah, exactly. And then there's Star Wars Armada, which is like basically bigger ships and slower combat, but that sounds amazing as well. But I keep seeing it, and I keep not buying it.
Probably a good thing for now. It's just one of those things, we've got so many that we still haven't quite utilised fully, like Descent. I feel like it's a bit like games, you want to kind of cross them off. Video games, you want to kind of finish them before you move on to the next one, and at least get your money's worth.
Okay, so then we were like Excelsior, and we wandered outside, and we wandered up, and then we went to 8-Bit Planet,
which has the best value graphic novels I've seen for a long time.
Which is strange for a retro video game store.
I know, honestly. There was plenty of like New 52 stuff there that was like a tenner, and they're like 25 quid in like Forbidden Planet or other shops.
Did you buy anything from there?
No, I didn't actually in the end. I was
there
really
tempted by?
But I was still hugging my Seven Wonders Duel Pantheon.
Yeah.
What would you have...
While Pete was pouring at the X-Wing figures, I probably would have bought... I was tempted by Wonder Woman, the first graphic novel of that, because that's a character I don't really know much about in the DC universe, and whether it's a new film coming out or something, I don't know, but that's a character I'm quite interested in.
You see, I was just like looking through, because I've bought so much stuff from there in the past, like boxed NES games. Oh my god, so good!
You spent so much money on one of them, and you were playing it for like 1 hour, and then you finished it.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers, so good.
I rolled my eyes
so
hard.
Great cartoon.
Yeah, but now they've done a whole amalgamation anyway.
Yeah, that's coming out in like 2 months' time.
You could have just got that.
Yeah,
that would have been all of them.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have played it on the original hardware.
You had to get it on the original.
Yeah, I know. I had to get it on the original hardware. But I was looking at all those things, and they've got so many, like, there's like Master System games and Mega Drive games, and they're all like, the cool thing about that shop, because I've been in lots of retro game stores and like second-hand game stores, because I don't just play like up-to-date current stuff. I really enjoy going back and playing older stuff. And the thing I really like about 8-Bit Planet is that it's so clear that they don't bother taking, every other copy of FIFA 99 on PlayStation 1 that's come in. They're just like, no, that's not something that we're interested in purchasing from you, because we know our clientele doesn't actually want to buy those games.
Yeah.
So like, you'll go in and like to most second-hand stores, and if they've got a Mega Drive section, you're lucky to find like Echo the Dolphin and maybe a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog, and the rest of it is just Mega Games 1, 2, and 3, and then like just a load of rubbish, like, I don't know, like the original Bubsies, or like stuff along those lines.
A lot of people have, and it's not particularly
yeah, exactly. And then like, but whereas like there, you go in and it's like, oh, we've got like a copy of Super Hang-On and Outrun and like all of these amazing, and they had Tailspin as well, which is like a really cool Capcom 2D platformer. All of this really awesome stuff, and I just like look at it and going, like, pouring at the glass and like, oh, I really want to buy it. I want to buy all of it.
I just love the idea that your kind of gaming oeuvre mainly consists of 90s Saturday morning cartoon game adaptation.
Well, they were. That's the thing, though. Capcom was amazing at that stuff in the 90s. They were really, really incredible at those. Like, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers was great. DuckTales was amazing. Tailspin was good. There was a good Little Mermaid game. The Lion King on Mega Drive was ridiculously good.
They are fantastic.
Like, all of these games, and like,
it looks like they're starting to remake them. Like bring out them unplayable games, and so you might find that Chip 'n Dale starts with that, but then they move on to other ones.
Yeah, that's true.
As well.
I think it's all the old Capcom platforms they're doing at the moment.
Yeah.
I hope they do. I really, really hope it does do well.
I hope it does as well, so you can buy that instead of the £60.
It's probably
game.
just as likely as Sylvanian Family's Attack Wing.
Damn it!
We could make.
I could make it. I've already made my own Catan board. I could make.
Oh, that Catan board you made, Alex, is fantastic.
It took a long time and possibly nearly nerve damage.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
Kris,
Going in.
what did you think about Chance Encounters?
I can't remember, what was that?
Oh, for goodness sake.
You
What
joking?
did it look like?
That was the pub where we went and played.
Oh my
Mr.
gosh,
Darcy.
that was brilliant. So this was at the bottom of the Christmas Steps in Bristol. Fantastic little place. It's a fantastic board game cafe. You walk in, and you've got, from left to right, you've got this huge rack of shelves of board games. On the left, you've got the light micro games. On the right, you've got the long kind of like Cosmic Encounters, Twilight Imperium, kind of on the far right. And basically, yeah, we walked in, we got a table, got a cup of tea and some fantastic carrot cake, and yeah, we just picked a game. We worked. You came back with
£4 per person.
Yeah, exactly, £4 per person. You came. I remember you went away and you brought back a pile of free games. We just stacked them on the table. Everyone around us was just engaged in the hobby, and it was lovely. It wasn't the kind of what Sam would refer to as a sweaty boys shop.
Yeah,
This was a light and breezy cafe that had board games.
So, and what I loved is that they have tables handmade for them, aren't they? We were looking at them.
Yeah, I was looking up those tables because I was like, maybe we should get one for just as like a normal table, and then like use it for gaming and
They're
stuff
a
as
bit
well.
too high. They're sort of higher than the standard table, so you have sort of high bar stools under, but they've got a little shelf underneath, which at first I thought Kris was just putting his plate on his lap. I was like, what are you doing, Kris?
I'm,
He's like,
I'm hyper polite.
So you shove it under a little shelf so you can keep the top clean, so nothing gets, spilt or in the way of the game. And there's lots of range of people. Some people were getting deep into Catan. Some people were having sort of light. We played a cuckoo nest game, which is a bit like...
Yeah, what was that called, Kris?
A bit like Kaplunk, but reverse Kaplunk.
Go Cuckoo. Basically a long, thin cylinder, which is like this kind of tin with these, yeah, as you say, Alex, these kind of kaplunk-like sticks with different colours at different ends. You put them in. Each player gets a selection of small white plastic eggs, and there's this big wooden chunky cuckoo. And the aim of the game is to pull sticks out, and depending on their colour, lay them across the top of this thing, so they're balancing across precariously, and then try and place one of your eggs on there, and hopefully it won't fall in.
The idea is to have as little eggs. You have to get rid of all your eggs, don't you?
To get rid of all your eggs, put all your eggs in one basket, and then the final challenge is to put this chunky big wooden cookie on the top of it. If it's held, you win.
And you won, didn't you, Chris?
I certainly did.
You won that one. Then there was Marrying Mr. Darcy,
which was one of my favourites. Actually, I actually really enjoyed.
Oh,
that
good!
game.
I'm glad you like that. The guys recommended
just because of its theme.
It was, yeah. Me and you were like, oh yeah.
So I never heard of it, and like
I know,
the bar staff were like, look, because we were like, well, we're familiar with games, as in we play them fairly often, but we're not so into the hobby that we could.
Well, we came in and we said we just can't spend hours.
Well, that, but also we're not so
game.
into the hobby that we know exactly how long every single one of these games takes, and also we don't have the same amount of time as the group that were next to us, so that we're playing like Cosmic Encounter.
Yeah,
where it was like, well, we're not going to be here for 3 hours
because of the way they set it out. It kind of happens, doesn't it, that you get the smaller games tend to be smaller than mid-range was kind of mid-hour to half an and then the long ones that can go on for as long as possible.
But I thought that was really nice, like being able to, like, we were like stood there like looking at the shelves, and rather than having like that typical, like, as you know, as I say, like sweaty boy shop mentality of like, I'm a member of staff, but I'm gonna hide behind this thing and not talk to anyone. Like the guys and the girls that were working there were just like super friendly and just like, oh, do you know what you're looking for? How do you play games often? Like really trying to figure out like what it is that we were going to be doing and how long we were going to be there. And
they knew that one was kind of a good hour-long one. So Marrying Mr. Darcy is just a card game essentially, where you have a draw pile and the various bachelors from the book lined up. So Fitzwilliam, Darcy, Mr. Collins, Mr. Bingley, and then you've got all the female protagonists that you can choose from. So you each choose one, and then each draw is kind of like an event that happens in the world, and quite a few of them definitely related to the book. Like Bingley goes to London, and then his card turns over, and nobody can, marry him. And everybody's got sort of wit, cunning, beauty, various things that each man needs fulfilled before you can get to the proposal stage, which is at the end, and you try and propose. And obviously each character you get more points at the end depending on who you try to marry. So Jane is better with Bingley, Elizabeth is better with Mr. Darcy, obviously, that sort of thing. And I nearly won, except I had a scandal at some point. My sister ran off with a man, and my dice roll at the end meant I couldn't get Mr. Fitzwilliam.
Do you know that was kickstarted?
Was it?
That was kickstarted. We were playing a kickstarted board game in a kickstarted board game cafe.
Ooh, meta.
Isn't that weird?
It's cool.
It's cool though, right?
Shows the power of...
In fact, the city of Bristol was famously kickstarted in the 13th century.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? We'd really like to make a city. It's 1100.
It's going to be super cool.
Whatever.
So that was really nice. I'd love to go there again.
What, Chance Encounters?
Yeah, that was
brilliant. I thought it was really cool. Did we play anything else when we were there?
We nearly played...
No, we had that's it, yeah. We had a third one, which was like an architectural one, buildings.
Oh, yeah.
But
we
no,
Nah.
By then we moved on.
I had a thought. And I'm going to float this past you. I think next time, Kris, that you and Sam and hopefully Dan are down, I think what we should do is I should phone them up and say, I'd like to book a table for 12 hours, and then we'll play like Twilight Imperium.
Play like Twilight Imperium, or play Twilight Imperium?
No, play Twilight Imperium. Like, if I could read the rules ahead of time, I reckon I could figure out what the rules are before we actually start at like 9 o'clock in the morning. and then go until 9 o'clock in the evening, or however long it is that they're there
for. I mean, I do recommend you read the rules ahead of time.
Well,
booking a table for 12 hours.
Yeah. But
that would be really a real chore. That would
wouldn't that be fun?
Sat watching you.
Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, that would be fun. I'd be up for that.
Everyone else queuing outside can't understand how they can't get in.
Yeah.
They're just watching you through the glass.
Yeah. Sorry, you're not allowed in. You're not allowed our carrot cake.
This idiot.
Doesn't know how to play Twilight Imperium.
And then we trundled back home.
No, we didn't.
Did we not?
We went to Forbidden Planet.
Oh God, yeah, that was on the way, wasn't it?
It was like
that was where there was a
book
signing, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was something going on.
That was really weird. Yeah, we wandered in, and then there was
to the sound of applause.
To the sound of applause.
We wandered in. It was an amazing.
Yeah, I was like, well, they clearly have been listening to the Staying In podcast. But no, it was a famous author that was there talking about the new book that they'd written. I do really like the Bristol Megastore for Forbidden Planet. Like, I go there really often, and when I was really into Magic, which I'm sort of trying to wean myself off of at the moment, but when I was really into Magic, it was definitely the place that I went and picked up boosters and the latest sets and all that sort of stuff.
Nice shop. I always go in there and try not to buy something.
Like Deadpool and Black Sad.
I tend to buy something.
Mouse Guard.
Almost every time I've bought something, actually, except Deadpool, it's been one of their recommended books. And every time they're bang on.
Forbidden Planet's really good like that. It is like a chain, and it's. I think it's the same wherever you go in terms of like each Forbidden Planet is a bit different because of the layout and all that sort of stuff. And each one does somewhat focus slightly more or slightly less on certain genres of geek stuff, I guess you might say. Like, I've seen some with big board game sections, and I've seen some with like 4 copies of, Monopoly or whatever, Star Wars Monopoly in the background. It's like, okay. I think the thing that Forbidden Planet in Bristol does really well is comic books. I think it's incredible, actually, their comic book selection.
Graphic novels.
The graphic novels are just amazing. And then like the board game section is like pretty good. Like, it's okay, but it's not amazing. Like, it's at the moment it feels like there's some like really good standards there. Like, there's Munchkin and Carcassonne, and
I feel like it fluctuates. I think they just have very low stock, because I've seen loads of stuff in there, and then I've seen it just go. So I think they had Sheriff of Nottingham that I kept looking at, going, "Oh, I really like that art," and never bought it, and then that's disappeared. I think they probably only had a small shipment in, because they probably know they don't get bought that often. So once they're gone until they get the next lot. But then thankfully my father, because we sort of think the same, bought that for us for Christmas. So that was something we played, wasn't it, as well, Chris? The Sheriff game.
Ooh, yeah. Should we talk about that?
Did you like that one?
Yeah, I did, actually. I'm not a big fan of bluffing games generally as a rule. I'm just not very good at them.
Well, should we explain how the game works?
You've got the best thing about it is you have little pouches. That's all you need to know.
Each player.
They don't need to know. It's pouches, money.
It's pouches and money.
You lie or you don't lie.
Each player is basically a person who's going into Nottingham to trade their goods. And as they are going through into the town to trade their goods, they are taking in either legal goods or illegal goods. The legal goods are worth less. The illegal goods are worth more. However, which goods you are taking in, you have to put into one of these lovely pouches that Alex loves so much.
Best thing ever.
and you then give it to the Sheriff of Nottingham, and you say, there are 4 apples in this pouch.
The Sheriff of Nottingham, by the way, is one player each time.
It moves around each turn. And you say, I've got 4 apples in here. And then the sheriff says, oh, I don't know. Do you? And you have to think, okay. So then you can either offer a bribe, or you can say, no, that's not going to, I don't want to give you a bribe. And then the sheriff can then say whether or not they choose to search your bag or not.
Take the money.
And if they search your bag, and they find things that you've not declared, then you are penalised. And if they find things and it's all fine, and it was exactly what you said it was, then it all goes through, and actually then the sheriff pays you some money. And if they choose not to search your bag, then the stuff just goes straight through. And then at the end, and it's basically based on how much money you then acquire at the end of it.
That's exactly what I said. Just per pouch's money line. I think that's what I said. think
It's
you're
like
fine.
tennis. So, yeah, and the art is amazing.
Great
the art
game.
is really, really lovely. And one of the things I like about that board game is how the food looks really delicious.
Yeah, the art's
Oh,
brilliant. Thanks.
a bit like the pizza in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Okay, so right, we've got to talk about this. Food in animations.
What in comic
Right.
books and stuff.
No,
Like
yeah,
chicken
like,
legs, chicken drumsticks.
chicken
That's
drumsticks.
amazing.
Like in Sword in the Stone, they eat the whole thing, doesn't he? He eats the whole thing. He's just got a bone.
If you
left.
actually did that, it'd be just like a mouthful of gristle.
Yeah, you would get quite a few horrible things. But this is in the world of fantasy. Do you know what?
Yeah, let's not debate when we've got like anthropomorphized turtles.
I mean,
Yeah.
but okay. Best food in a comic book or cartoon.
No, just like, well, Ghibli probably wins
Oh,
with their food.
Yeah, no, that's
their
the
food
ultimate
is
trump card, isn't it?
fantastic. Oh, do you know what? Do you remember the Jungle Book? You guys both seen?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he's in King Louis's? He gets caught by the orangutan, and Louis won't really let him go. But he has a bit of like, no, I'm the king of the swinging show. They all have a lot of fun. And
Jungle
then-
VIP.
Yeah, Jungle VIP, and he gives him some bananas. Now,
Yeah.
I always thought they looked like soap. If you watch the cartoon, he squeezes out of the skin, and
Bubbles come out.
they look really weird. They look like little soaps. There's no sort of lines on them like you get on a banana. And he bites into it. And it's quite rounded. I just
Hold on,
thought
wait,
they
hold
look
on.
like soap.
Wait. Lines on a banana.
Just any kind of detail line, like a few little.
There are no lines on bananas.
Well, there are. You're just not artistically minded, so you're probably not taking that in when you look at it. But it's like orange having dots on the outside. You put little dots, wouldn't you, for an orange skin in a drawing because it's got little picks in it on the side of the
Yeah.
So imagine that, but a completely round
Yeah.
ball. So it just looks like a different consistency, but I thought it always looked really delicious. I was very young at this
Right.
point, thinking it was soap or a dumpling or
Yeah,
something.
this wasn't like last year.
Yeah, this was 2 days ago. What's he eating?
Something in the soap king.
Fruit? Yeah.
And I remember watching an episode of the Wombles as a child where
Womble.
one of the matriarch of the Wombles, she made these crumpets, and they looked incredible.
Oh, stop motion things like Wallace and
Yeah.
Gromit, the jam on the toast.
Yeah.
I made a piece of toast the other day and said it was a Wallace and Gromit toast. Do you remember that? And you were like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "It's 'cause the jam
Did you
goes
fire the jam
back."
out of a little mini cannon?
Yeah, I made a whole contraption first, and it put me into my clothes, and then it squeezed the jam out.
Oh wow.
But a Wallace and Gromit toast is where the
Pete is still asleep as he gets thrown into his trousers.
and like toast like pressing up against his mouth while he's like. But the jam goes right up to the edge of the crust, and that's Wallace. He also has cheese and crackers. Oh man, I'm starting to get hungry again.
Oh my word! The Grand Day Out, where like he goes on the moon, and he just takes a knife and cuts like a bit of like a moon stalagmite.
And it's all made out of cheese,
and
isn't it?
he puts it on the cracker. It looks incredible.
That would be your
Moon rock.
dream, wouldn't it? Pete?
What?
Eating
The
the
moon.
moon.
But
being
is
able
the
to,
moon,
like, just
but
to-
the moon's not made of cheese.
Well, it is.
Cheese.
Have you been to the moon? No, you haven't. So, well, in Wallace and Gromit, it's made out of cheese.
Right.
Which
It also has a breathable atmosphere.
Oh right. Okay.
somehow, let's not get into the.
I don't know which. Okay. I don't know. Would I want to eat? But what if?
You are not dear listeners. Not 2 hours ago, this man was literally biting out of a block of cheese. I saw you, and then I saw the teeth marks in the cheese, and I said,
hungry.
"You haven't just done that, have you?"
You can't buy class.
And you have a go at me for not cutting it the right way, and you just take a giant cartoon tooth mark out of it.
Let's avoid.
Was it like one of those big rolls of Edam?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's skip over
Hom.
this. No.
Hom.
So you reckon?
Did he not take the wax off the baby? Straight.
He can't help
through.
himself. Just
Oh. So you think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has amazing cheese?
that pizza.
On
Pizza.
the pizza. Yeah,
Pizza
the
looks
pizza.
It does look incredible. That is the best pizza. Like Studio Ghibli could spend 3 years making a pizza, and it would not look as good as the one from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But it's pepperoni, isn't it? It's always pepperoni.
Yeah,
So-
I was just thinking that.
Well, if you're
I
vegetarian.
mean, the fact that it's
It's
eating it.
gross, isn't it? If you don't particularly like pepperoni. There's
Good
but it's
point.
always pepperoni. That's fine.
Yeah, it is always pepperoni. You're absolutely right.
They could be vegetarian pepperoni.
It's not really good though, is it?
Not in the early 90s.
No. What else looks good?
There was Tom and Jerry cartoons were very good for that. You'd have a few episodes where it's just sat on a dining table and it's just this kind of bounty of food.
Because it was always Jerry was always trying to get them, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode? One of my favourite episodes. It's where they've got a little mouse as well, the white.
Yeah,
mouse.
I don't know what you mean.
And Jerry,
the one that just eats loads.
He puts on all the taps and he freezes the floor.
That got an Oscar.
That's a really famous episode.
And he puts a jelly in and starts spinning it around with a light, and it changes all the lights. And he puts the freezer, connects the freezer to the floor, doesn't he? And they ice skate.
That's amazing.
I love that episode.
That episode is amazing. Yeah.
When I turned 30, my parents bought me Tom and Jerry on DVD, and honestly, it was such a great gift. I've got some of their best episodes on DVD. They're brilliant, actually. They're really good.
Yeah,
I might put some on later, actually.
You get these sort of nostalgia hits, don't you? And you're like, actually, no, they were really good, and they really stick out in my head. I think my dad just really liked them, so I grew up with them. But right from the old ones all the way to the newer ones.
Yeah, with the Chuck. What was his name? Chuck. Something I can't remember the last name. I want to say Chuck Norris, but it wasn't Chuck Norris.
No. Wasn't Chuck Norris. Probably wasn't Chuck Berry. Wasn't Chuck Rock. Wasn't Chuck D from Public Enemy. Wasn't.
How long can you?
Chuck.
Woodchuck.
Woodchuck.
Woodchuck Wood.
It was Chuck someone else. Yeah. Chuck Lorre?
Who? What?
Was it Chuck Lorre?
I don't know.
Was it Chucky Egg?
I also remember an episode where Tom tries to get a female cat and he has to make a zoot suit.
A zoot
suit? Because she's very impressed by all these kind of mobster style 1940s cats that are swinging around. They've got their own zoot suits and Tom has to make his own. And he gets a coat hanger stuck in his back because he's trying to make his shoulders all pointy.
I always felt bad about Tom.
Oh, poor Tommy.
I hated Jerry.
Always loses.
Jerry was a real dick.
Well, but do you remember when he catches him? He finally catches him in one episode.
No, he tears him apart, doesn't he?
No, he did. Yeah, it's horrible. That one's not.
Like Watership Down.
Yeah. Spoilers.
He can't do it. Something happens. He puts him down, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Puts him down?
Well, he gives him a lethal injection.
Yeah.
And he says, "It's all right, Jerry."
No, that makes me sad. No, don't.
And then he smothers him with a pillow and no, he grabs him and
he places him back down on the floor.
Places him back down and leaves him alone.
Jesus wept.
Because he finds out it's all about the chase, not the cat.
Yeah. I remember hearing at school the rumour that was the same with Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. That one day Coyote catches Roadrunner.
I don't think he ever does he?
I don't remember, actually. I really liked Roadrunner as a kid, but I don't remember.
We watched it recently. I bought it for you. It's kind of a similar thing. We were talking about it, and I never really watched it, but it was one of your things. However...
It's so funny.
It is the same thing over and over again. Like, at least with Tom and Jerry, it changes.
It's not, though, because the setup is always the same, but the delivery is so different each time. Like, you know that the coyote... You know that him firing himself out of a cannon is not going to end up resulting in what he wants. But the end result is always different. Like the cannon blasting away and him being left in a perfect still position, just hitting the floor. Like, or the cannon like firing him into a mountainside, or the cannon just firing and he doesn't leave.
You're right. What it does play on
is
your expectation of what's going to go wrong, and then it does the opposite. But it is the same formula again and again.
Yeah.
And after 40 episodes or whatever it was,
I was
can't
still
take anymore.
enthralled.
But it's just watching. We never get tired of that kind of hubris. Watching somebody getting above their station.
Yeah.
And just seeing it just explode in their face, literally, in the case of Coyote. Did you ever watch the Tom and Jerry the movie at cinemas when you were a kid? When they talked? They talk in some of the cartoons.
No.
Yeah, they do some of the early ones occasionally.
He was talking about having a zoot suit.
What he talks about, I'm going to buy a zoot suit.
He has a song as well, which I can't remember now. He sings to her as well. Tom's quite often talking or yelling because he's been stepped on or something. But Jerry hardly ever talks.
That'd be terrifying if every time Tom was in pain, he never made a sound. That'd be incredibly unsettling.
Scream.
Like that monk scream. Just German expressionist kind of thing. Just his torment, his anguish.
So we didn't. So we left Forbidden Planet. I don't know how we got onto cartoon. So we left Forbidden Planet, and we came back, and then what did we do? There was what other stuff did we do? Oh, I want to talk about. I know we talked about on the show before, but I really, really want to talk about Escape from the Planet and the
Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space.
Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space.
So
We've talked about it loads.
It's by Osprey Games. Yeah,
it's properly brilliant. Like, you describing it to me, it did sound really, really cool. And I was like, that sounds all right. And like the fact that we won't describe what the game is again because I'm just going back to the previous episode. But like, basically, the whiteboard and marker stuff that you get in the box to actually see where you are and to plan out your positions and figure out where your enemies are. That is amazing.
Yeah, well, it's brilliant.
It's so clever. And it leads, like we shared at the end of it when we found out who was who, we shared our boards with one another. And it was really interesting to see like how you were tracking where everybody was versus how I was tracking how people were, like versus where like Kris and Sam, who were like seasoned players.
I wasn't actually bothering tracking anyone else. I was just desperately tracking myself. I didn't have time to track my,
See, I was doing
I had no idea what I was doing, and I was the first one to get out.
Yeah.
Because I was just furiously.
But I was doing all these like heist style pinboard-esque like linking, like, well, they must be here, and this must have been a fake
Vinci
one.
Code level.
Yeah, properly Da Vinci coding it, and then, but I still managed to completely lose because it did not work out. But it was really.
You just went rogue.
Yeah, I did. I went rogue. I was like, I'm going to figure this one out, and then I went for the escape pod that I thought someone was going to go to, and then I just
that was a
like faffed about for 5 turns.
Sam was just overly paranoid about me, especially. Every time I'd say something, and he'd be like, "Bullshit."
Sam snuck past me right at the last minute. He snuck past me.
Yeah, that was quite clever because
it was about second guessing each other.
You were all in the same area. Luckily, I was. Yeah, no, it was a
because your power was you were the psychiatrist, which meant as a human you were trying to empathise with the aliens, which meant you started from the aliens' point of view.
Yeah.
So
which is really helpful.
Start off with, I assumed you were an alien, Alix, because that was the area that you were in. There was no way physically as a human you could have got there unless you were the psychiatrist, which is what you were.
Or if I was lying, which actually I happened to pick up the one, first card had to pick up, had to tell the truth. And I thought, great, I'm gonna give up what I am immediately. But as you say, in my head I was like, oh no, they're gonna guess that I'm a human on that side. But of course, most people would think I was an alien immediately. So actually, it can work in both ways.
It's really nicely balanced in that a lot of these games with elements of social deduction, it's understanding what information is hidden, and then providing mechanics that work towards showing hints of that hidden information, and also providing ways of subverting that same hidden information. So that psychiatrist card is a great way of flagging to other players, this looks like it's an alien. There's a very small chance that they're a human. And also the truth reveal card is a really great way of, especially early on in the game, of giving a hint at whether the player is a human or an alien, but none of the information concretely, even all combined together, none of the information concretely actually says this is what this player is. And that is a really lovely and very skilled way of balancing a social deduction game.
Yeah. The only time is when you, Kris, were starting. You were convinced you knew where Sam was. You have to announce, don't you, if you're going to say B12, I'm going to attack it. So at that point, that was the only time I knew where Kris was.
Yeah.
Whereas you were just running around down the corridors, not really knowing where
I was having a great time as an alien.
Just not doing anything.
Just wandering around, not doing anything.
Not doing your job at all.
Yeah, I just picture my alien being like the Geiger version, and Pete's was just like E.T.
Just paddling around, not quite knowing what eating M&Ms.
Did we play anything else? I can't remember.
We played the game that we need to talk about that Sam will want me to talk about with you because he's been waiting for ages for you to play it, Pete. When I went round for New Year's Eve and we played this game, the first thing he said to me was, I cannot wait for Pete to play this because he's going to be brilliant at it.
Which one?
Llama. In which Alex and I absolutely trounced you and Sam. We literally.
Did Sam think you'd be good at it? That's hilarious.
No, Sam. No, quite the opposite. Sam thought I would be useless at it, and to be fair, he was right.
He was right.
Yeah.
I was pretty useless at it, but I have very good memory of where cards are, so we could kind of win by default.
So remind us again, like what the game is.
Right, Llama basically its principle is it's a party game about rhyming. I mean, so you have to be able to rhyme, you have to be able to understand rhymes, and you also have to have a working knowledge of popular culture.
Right. Yeah.
And it was that third one in particular that Sam thought you'd be hilarious at. So to give you an example, it would be the one that you did a really shocking mime of was Kate Winslet eating a baguette, in which you mimed a baguette that looked like a child's recorder.
Pan flute, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did the universal symbol and sign for baguette.
No, it was for a recorder. It didn't look anything like a baguette. It wasn't nearly girthy enough.
I was holding on to it.
If that was my baguette, I'd send it back. Far too
What
thin.
baguettes are you eating?
Big proper baguettes. You know, the kind you bake at home. You were doing music like frozen before you.
I guess
put
I
it
was
in the
doing
oven.
like panini.
Yeah, you were doing.
No, you weren't. You were doing breadstick.
Tiny breadstick, yeah. Gruyere cheese
But
stick.
Kate Winslet. Who was Kate? How did I do Kate Winslet?
No, because somebody else said Kate Winslet, so we knew it was Kate Winslet.
Oh right, so we knew that. Oh yeah, Kate. Yeah, okay.
But it was quite difficult, and some of the ones I just couldn't remember the actual names of the actors, or so like one was Roy from IT Crowd or something, and I was like, I can't remember his blooming name.
Kris Darby.
Yeah, but yeah, that was fun. I like the fact you can do charades.
I've got a great video of Sam doing a mime of Alan Carr dancing on a bar, and it just went on forever. You trying to guess it.
We did that, and then we did Mysterium.
Oh my god, we played so many games. Yes.
We need to talk about Mysterium, though.
Mysterium's great.
It was really good.
It's kind of like Dixit, but Ghost Dixit.
Ghost Dixit.
Essentially.
Mysterium. So it's
It's
Scooby Dooby Dooby.
Scooby Dooby Doo. Where are you? Give me some cards, then I'll figure it out. That's essentially it.
Yeah,
that's a tagline.
I mean, I suppose it essentially is. You need to figure out 3 pieces of evidence, and to do that, you have a main person who's playing a ghost in a mansion.
Sam was
our ghost, and the ghost can't talk. The only way they can communicate is they can tap twice for.
You can just knock.
They can knock twice for yes and once for no, and if you and the way that they communicate the item or the person or the place that the murder involved is through a series of abstract Dixit-like dream-esque visual imagery sequences.
Piece it together.
And you piece it together.
It's very cool.
It's really, really cool. Like, I'm really glad Sam had all of that, because I don't think I could stay quiet for that long.
No, you couldn't. I think I quite...
No, you couldn't.
If you were a ghost, you'd be a very noisy ghost.
Right.
You'd be one of those ones that goes, ooh, all the time.
You'd be
I was an actual ghost.
Yeah.
You'd be a Peter Geist.
Boom. Yes, you would not shut up. You'd be a howling...
I'd be a hunger ghost.
Hunger ghost. Go around like steal cheese.
Yeah.
You open the fridge and there's just mysterious, ghosty bite marks all over it.
Yeah.
You turn into Slimer, essentially, when you
No.
in a ghost form.
No, I'd be cool like Casper.
Nah. You'd definitely be the green thing. It goes, damn.
Do you remember the sequence in Ghostbusters where they
Which one?
Ghostbusters 2?
No, I've not seen.
You've not seen Ghostbusters 2?
No, I haven't seen them.
Oh yeah, you haven't. Okay. There's a bit in Ghostbusters 2 where there's a train and the train is a ghost train.
Oh.
And
What have I seen?
that film,
Not like a theme park ghost train.
no, not like a theme park ghost train, but an actual train that is a ghost.
Yeah.
And I always remember thinking to myself, that's a really scary idea. What if I was on like the London Underground and I got onto an underground tube station, but then it just turned into like a ghost?
I'd be like, where's the dining car? What
On an underground?
what's the
London
dining...
Underground?
Yeah,
Which
if it's
London
a
Underground
ghost...
stops you in?
Why is it...
Why is there a dining car?
Why is it a ghost subway?
It's like Murder on the Orient Express. Just
Yeah. Yeah. Where is my carriage? For the next 4 minutes. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think... But I was really scared. I was really scared by that idea of like a ghost train and getting on it. And where would you go? Where would the ghost train be going?
Nowhere.
And does the ghost train have to follow the tracks?
Surely you just fall through onto the tracks.
That's that too.
You just...
How do ghost trains work?
I think you just fall through it, unless you were incorporeal.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It really messed me up as a kid. It really messed
me
me up as a
You
kid.
stared off into the middle distance for a second.
really,
like,
really messed
I
me
really
up as
need
a
to
kid.
figure this out.
why trains in particular, Peter? Like, I mean, ghost aeroplanes would be quite just as freaky.
I don't think ghosts would understand what an aeroplane is, because aeroplanes are more modern than trains.
Hang on, you can't say that for a
So hang on,
subway,
there's
then.
a period where all ghosts kind of ended, but we stopped having
exactly.
ghosts now.
Yeah, I think so.
No, because then
I
you
mean,
can't have a
the
ghost
fact that
subway.
we're talking about a ridiculous thing anyway.
Here's
Now-
my
yeah, we're putting in rules now.
here's my favourite thing about ghosts, right? If like you know how you get these like TV shows that are all about like ghost hunters, and what they've done is just turned all the lights off, and then now they're using like night vision stuff to film Derek Acora wandering around making very, very impressionable people scared. Like one of those things that I love about that is like Derek is never like, oh mate, I'm trying to, there's a ghost coming in, I can't believe it. And then the ghost is never somebody who died like 3 weeks ago. It's never like somebody who like popped their clogs like last year.
It's also never a dinosaur.
It's also never a dinosaur.
It's like, I'm getting strong. It's a stegosaurus. It's coming through right
There
now.
were loads of dinosaurs before
Yeah,
humans.
there'd be stegosaurus ghosts.
Exactly. Why isn't Derek
There's
Acora?
never a bird ghost.
But Derek never explains that. Derek never says. Damn
it, Derek.
Damn it, Derek. Derek is never like, that's a Stegosaurus ghost. A Stegosaurus ghost has just walked right through this pub in the middle of buttfuck nowhere in
Which
Yorkshire.
it would.
Which it would.
Yeah, I know.
But it's
I
always,
know.
but it's never somebody from last year, and it's never a creature from hundreds of thousands of years ago. It's
a Victorian woman.
It's always
or...
it's always a Victorian woman, and she's always got a secret. Or it's
Was
always an
murdered by-
angry man, and he was the bad one, and you've got to watch out. Why is that?
It's because there's a story or a narrative attached to it. Like, you know, the millions and millions of dead flies coming back in ghostly form don't have much of a story to tell as some kind of, I don't know, rich widow who was jilted at the altar.
You see,
I remember going on a ghost walk in Exeter where I lived for about 4 years.
You could have just got on the ghost train.
Yay. And this lady who, I mean, aside from the fact she was dressed as a witch, like not like witchly in the kind of like, you know, kind of charmed kind of way, witch in kind of like
A Wiccan kind of way.
like,
yeah, Mog and Meg
Yeah.
kind of style witch. And she'd taken us on this wonderful evening of kind of through the streets of Exeter, which has got a lot of history attached to it, and there's lots of various different tales about it. There's one bit where there's this big stone that's embedded in the wall, and you have to touch it when you enter and touch it when you leave, otherwise you'll get bad luck. And she took us to this kind of open air grass bit under the trees, and we were in this giant circle. And there was some kind of incantation or ritual that she was kind of creating around us there.
Right, yeah.
And then she kind of picked us up to this kind of level. We're actually on peak, and then she just went, it's just a bit of rubbish, isn't it?
You're joking.
And
Nice.
no, it's just a bit of fun. It was just hilarious.
What? So she was like, "Oh man, if you'd paid money for that, I'd want her to commit to the bit."
Well, I mean, you know, we weren't exactly expecting for her to just hop on her broom and just head off.
Do you think that's a kind of like mini disclaimer in case they get people coming back like, I had bad luck and like really superstitious people? that try and blame the company.
What, it's like a double bluff? Like, it actually is working?
No, just, it's like I bet they've had people being like,
I
had bad luck after this, and
I'm going to sue you.
I'm going to,
for magic.
I forgot to touch a bloody stone, and I don't know, just some people get very, very superstitious about it. It's how this thing was sort of born, really, the whole ghost and bad luck thing.
Or she is a real witch.
And she just didn't want anyone
She doesn't
to
want
know.
anyone to... Oh, it's just a bit of fun.
It's quite funny that
Everyone's
she
like,
left
ha,
it
ha,
till
ha,
then.
ha, ha. And then, like... But then, yeah, then she actually does, like, transform into a black cat.
It sort of relates in a way of like tours and what could have possibly ended up being scary but hilarious. My grandmother was telling me about how my grandparents went to Jerusalem a long time ago, and they went round the tombs round there, and they had a German tour guide who really didn't know much about what he was saying. He just had a load of different coloured paper in his hand, clutched in his hand. He was taking around a load of people who are kind of the same age, like 60s, 70s. There's this quite small group of people who aren't particularly good with sight or hearing either. So they're all shuffling around this ancient catacombs. And the guy's like pointing a flashlight into the darkness. And here you will see the something of something that didn't really know. Would hand a piece of paper to one of them. The man reads the note, he would say. And there's nothing on the note. There's just nothing, they're left like, I suppose this is supposed to have information about the crypt, but there's nothing there. They keep going, and then one of them falls into a grave.
Oh my god!
And they just carry on. And this old man's just gone clump, into this grave. They go, where's Gerald gone? Have to backtrack and get him out of the new grave that they've just been digging out. And
God!
They get him, and apparently they were all just in tears laughing. And this German guy has no idea. And the guy goes, "Why are you laughing? What's so funny?" And they've just been going through this. A man falls into a grave. They've got no proper information about any of this stuff. I love the idea of somebody, because they're in the dark and this guy wasn't really pointing the flashlight at anywhere particularly helpful. Yeah. Brilliant. Scare the life out of you if you saw someone trying to come out of a grave. They wouldn't.
Scare the life out of you if you fell into a grave.
It's like, it's not my time.
I never want to see that view.
Particularly if Joe was like, "Oh, I'm really comfy here."
Yeah, just it'll be right.
This isn't too bad.
But really, can I get out now?
I had a situation once, actually, when I was living in Exeter, not long after I'd had that encounter with that witch. And I went for a walk one night, just walking around Exeter at night, and I walked into a graveyard, because I find graveyards quite relaxing places. It was pitch dark at night, and I realised, as I walked to the other side, to go through the gate, that the gate was locked. I was like, okay, I'll just backtrack and go the way I came. That gate was locked.
Ooh.
So basically, I was just trapped in this graveyard.
Oh no! How did you
get out?
Was it a ghost?
It was
no.
The witch came along.
Yeah, it was the witch.
How did you have to climb the fence?
I had to vault the wall. I don't know if you've ever had to jump over a wall over a graveyard. There's not a way in which you can kind of style it out like it was just a normal thing, an everyday kind of thing to do.
Here's the thing, Kris. This is very interesting. I find graveyards quite calm places as well, actually. Did you find as soon as you thought you were locked in, it suddenly wasn't so calm?
No, I just worried I'd get told off. Just because I don't know what I'd steal. But
for loitering. But did you not suddenly oh crap? Not in a sort of ghost lock the thing, but did you not think, oh crap, I'm stuck?
Oh yeah, I did think that.
It's funny how suddenly from that gate being open to that being closed, you're fine and then you're not fine.
I'd be scared of
I get this a lot, where I don't like things where you're locked in or claustrophobic.
I'd know rationally that there were no ghosts. But I would immediately think that there were ghosts.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
No, rationally I'd be like, well, clearly there's nothing going on here. It's just the dark. It's just my fear.
It's
just an apprehension and fear of the dark. Yeah, But I would immediately think either A, it's a ghost, or B, it's like a murderer
Or who's penning you
who's
in.
only ever in a graveyard. But why would the murderer be in a graveyard?
It's too obvious, isn't it?
But there's also no one to murder.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
Well, he's waiting for unsuspecting people to stay for too long.
Like a very efficient murderer. Like, I'll do it here.
And they can bury them.
Yeah,
It's the perfect plan.
Yeah.
So that's a very fresh grave.
You look over your shoulder and you find Gerald fresh from his trip from Jerusalem, writhing around.
Just hear like a flump.
In an open grave.
Oh, Gerald, falling in
How
again.
can the same shit happen to the same guy twice?
That was Staying In with Peter Willington, Kris Darby and Alix Briskham. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Mixcloud, Acast, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. And also, if you'd like to leave a review for us, that would be fantastic. Leaving reviews is a really great way to let other people know of the work we're doing here. Also, you can visit stayingin.podbean.com for more information and links to the comics, games, movies, and more covered in this episode, as well as all of our other episodes. And finally, come find us on Twitter on @StayingInPod. Thanks for listening.